Thanks to AeroMixer for sponsoring this episode. With AeroMixer, you can throw away your air stones and have one unit that mixes and aerates. It can also be used as a pump to feed your plants. It can handle 1/4-inch particulates. You can dump your worm castings in, bat guano in, or any synthetic-based fertilizer. They have models that range from 15-gallon tanks to 2,000-gallon tanks. They also have an aero brewer that allows you to control the power of your aero mixer and control on and off run times. Check out their website at aeromixer.com and use discount code MrGrowit for 15% off. Do you have a soil recipe you prefer? I don't know how long you've been tuned into my channels, but for the most part, you'll see that I use a lot of Fox Farm Ocean Forest. And just because it's convenient, local at my nursery, so I'll pick that up, use that. I do use that from seed all the way to harvest. Of course, adding in amendments sometimes as needed. I have added in some alfalfa and insect frass into my ocean forest before, and I got a really good result. Yeah, I definitely recommend trying that out. And a lot of people would be like, oh, that's way too hot. Look up the benefits of insect frass, look up the benefits of alfalfa meal, and realize that neither of those things are in Fox Farm Ocean Forest soil. I got some really good results with that. As far as mixing my own soils, honestly, I've just been using the bag soil and then reusing that bag soil. For example, I'll amend it before I start growing. I'll amend it with Build-A-Soil Craft Blend. And then every 30 days, I'll do a cup of Build-A-Soil Craft Blend per plant. So that's kind of the easy, organic way to go about it. Try it out. Should you slightly change pH in bloom to uptake the bloom newts better, or stay around the same for the whole grow? A lot of debate behind this one. Some people will keep it the same throughout the entire grow. For example, in soil 6.5 pH, a lot of people say that's it, do that, and they have healthy plants throughout the entire grow. Some will drop it lower than that, 6.0, even as low as 5.5 in soil, believe it or not, which is something that you don't hear about much. You can definitely have healthy plants at those pH ranges. As far as, should you increase the pH in bloom so it can uptake certain nutrients? Look at the pH chart for nutrient uptake. You can just Google that, find it online, and you can see the higher the pH, the less availability for some of these elements. So just keep that one in mind. How do you know if your meter is set to a 500 or 700 scale? You have to contact the manufacturer. So the manufacturer is going to be the one to tell you whether or not your meter is a 500 scale or 700 scale meter. What I did was I went to the actual Amazon listing. Sometimes you'll see it asked as a question, or it'll be in the actual listing description, whether it's a 500 or 700 scale, or you can ask the question, or again, reach out directly to the manufacturer to find out if the one you're using is a 500 or 700 scale. What's a good PPFD for flower with no CO2? I don't like going any higher than 900. Anytime I'm over 900 PPFD, I'm talking about 900 PPFD at the canopy there with no CO2 supplementation. Every time I go over 900, can start to see some leaf burn symptoms, of course. But as far as like just the plant, reading the plant and seeing when the plant has too much light, and it's something you get with experience, right? You'll see, especially when you blast it with so much light and it comes to a point where it's a little bit droopy. Oftentimes I'm just doing 800 PPFD. With no CO2. If I have a mother plant in cocoa growing with synthetics, is it really bad to clone it into a happy frog then transplanting into a living soil? No, not at all. Just understand the plant has nutrient requirements. And so if you're giving the same nutrient requirements in the living soil, plant should be fine. I've always been in the impression that clones should be the same medium and nutrients as the mom. You'll hear people say that, but look at the science behind it. We know that there are 17 essential elements for plants. If you're given those elements as needed at the proper balance, if you have an excess of some elements in the medium, it can inhibit the uptake of other elements. So you need to have that proper balance. As long as you have a proper balance of nutrients and the nutrients that it needs within the medium, the plant should be fine. Do you empty it into a large container and then mix soil to reset? No, I haven't been doing that. I've just been top dressing in. And sometimes I'll dig up and disturb the soil a little bit, but a lot of people's goal is no-till. No-till living soil is just being able to add in amendments up top, for example, and then not have to do minimal disturbance of the microbial life in the soil. So I've been doing the disturbing and, removing the root ball, for example, as much as like the stalk and part of the root ball, removing that. Then there's a little area, there's a little hole there, which I can work with, digging down a little bit more, mixing in that cup of amendments, backfilling with soil, and then planting my plant in there. And that's been working out pretty good for me. So I haven't had to remove the soil from that 7-gallon container, mix everything up nice, and then add it back in. But some people do that. It's a common technique. You can do it either way. Do you use bowl trimmers or do you do by hand? Right now I do by hand, but I'm interested in using the bowl trimmers. AC Infinity has 2 different sizes bowl trimmers. So I might have to get my hands on one of those. Have you thought about trying grow dots as an experiment? Things obviously would be cool to see some bigger channels. Give it a try. I picked some up. I did pick some up, so I hope to try it on a future grow. I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to try it, but yeah, I have my hands on it right now, and I'll be trying it at some point in the future. Do you have experience with the auto pots? Yes, I do. I've done several grows with the auto pots. I've tried it with both synthetic nutrients in the reservoir, and I've also tried it with organics, and had some mixed results. So I really like the concept of auto pots. For those that don't know, it's basically a bottom fed system. So you have a reservoir, it'll feed down to a tray that the grow pot is located within. It'll fill it with water and then it will wick up. Great system. I was using it with organics, had some success with it, mixed success when I was top dressing with organics. So if you're doing top dressing with organics, I wouldn't recommend it. And some people have done it and they get away with it and they argue against my opinion on it. But in my experience, I haven't had good success with that. The reason why is because with this bottom wick system, it's gonna wick all the way up, but that top layer where your amendments are, it doesn't really get the moisture level that it needs, in my opinion. Now, I've tried having cover crops on there. I've tried having mulch layers on top to keep that top layer moist. It works better, but I still felt like I've struggled top dressing organics in the auto pots. Other people have gotten other results, so feel free to try it. That's just my experience there. With the synthetics, great results. I put a third dose, quarter dose of nutrients, so less nutrients because it's constantly being fed, and got some really, really good results. Sometimes I put just CalMag in the reservoir and ran it in there, and got some good results for when I just needed to supplement calcium, magnesium at the time. Make sure that the liquid nutrients that they're using isn't too thick, could potentially clog up the lines. Make sure you're using the copper disc that comes with the auto pot. I believe it can be either in the pot and then the soil, or it can actually be like below the pot in the tray. If you don't use the copper disc, basically the roots will come all the way through the bottom of the system and clog up the system. So definitely use the copper disc. But yeah, definitely got some good results off of that. I think they came out with a larger auto pot now as far as container size. I believe the auto pot XL is just under 4 gallons of soil, if I remember correctly, and they have larger pots now in a different system. So I would probably go towards the larger pot in the future if I were to use them again. But yeah, I've used them several times in the past and got some pretty good results. Can you top dress if you have cover crop, or do you recommend tea? Yes, you can. Just might be a little bit more difficult kind of working the amendments down through the cover crop. I don't like to do it, to be honest with you. Teas, sure, you can do teas as well. That's going to help boost the microbe population. It will, depending on what you put in the tea, if you put some amendments in there, some of them are going to be water soluble, some of them aren't. So some of them will turn out to be bioavailable, fast acting. The plant can uptake it immediately. Others, you might have to put that bag with whatever you have in there, compost, worm casting amendments, use that as a top dressing after you brew the tea. So a lot of people do that one. Yes, long story short, you can top dress with cover crop. It's just not as easy as if you didn't have the cover crop. You gonna try AC Infinity's auto watering system? Yes, I will. Absolutely. I just saw Rob's video on it. So big shout out to Rob from CLTV. He has a video detailing how that works, and interesting way that works. Definitely the only system that works like that. And they did send me over one. So yeah, I think I'm going to try that out next grow. We'll see how it works. Seems like it could make things a lot easier. What's your cat's name? My cat's name is Max. You guys see him floating around? Is that what? Oh, there he is. Yep. He usually comes onto the lap, but sometimes he's like, no, I don't want to be on your lap. He just wants to rub up against me. Do you think adding aloe is worth it? As what? As a rooting hormone? Yes. A lot of people do use that for when you're trying to get cuts to root. So yeah, try out aloe. I actually have an aloe plant. I had it indoors moved it outdoors. Now it's actually struggling with the heat outdoors, but it's still alive. But yeah, you can harvest aloe right off the plant and use it as a rooting hormone. So there's tons of videos online showing that. I like the one by Green Goblin 510. So if you search YouTube Green Goblin 510 aloe, his video should pop up, and he gives you details step by step on how to use it. Very detailed. He's got a ton of knowledge. Big shout out to him. I can't recommend that video enough. What would be the best bang for my buck as far as meters go that read temperature and humidity? Have the AC Infinity inline fan. Should I just stick with that, what they have now? I currently use the sensor push monitor. I've been using it since like 2017, I believe, maybe even 2016, way back when it first came out. And I've had great results using it. It's a monitor you can hang down. I mean, it's only, I think, 1.5 by 1.5 size, very small. Can easily hook it up to your rope ratchet, hang it down canopy level, and it connects to my smartphone. So has its own dedicated app. I can get alerts if my temperature, humidity is out of range, and that's what I've been using for many, many years. I've used the pulse monitor in the past, larger than the sensor push. There's some more features in there. The newer ones, you can actually par. It has a par meter attached to it. So that's another option. AC Infinity Controller 69 Wi-Fi edition. Not released yet. I just got my hands on it. I'm about to start to use it, but from my understanding, it'll be similar to the sensor push where you can get alerts on your smartphone. I think you can do that right now with the Controller 69. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't been using the Controller 69 just yet, but I believe it'll be set up the same, and you'll be able to do your AC Infinity inline fan, your light. The AC Infinity light can be connected to it. The oscillating fans from AC Infinity can be connected to it. You can control all that with the app. You can see the temperature and humidity. I think that's what I'm leaning towards next. And so I need to set up that Controller 69, get that thing going, the Wi-Fi edition, and start to use it. And then I can give you a more detailed answer whether or not I recommend it. Patiently waiting for your book. Just picked up the teaming series with Lowenfelds. Yeah, well, I mean, if you're a beginner, you'll get some value out of it. But just to reiterate, my book is just specifically for beginners. It takes you everywhere from getting the equipment, seeds, and going out through from seed all the way through curing. And then there's a section in there for like the top 12 plant problems and what you can do about it. It's written for the bare bones beginners. I've had some people that bought it and they had experience and they're kind of disappointed. Like, why is this such basic information? I'm like, well, it's a beginner book. So hopefully you're a beginner. It'll help you on that avenue. If you do have some experience, just keep in mind it's a book for beginners. Teaming series. So Teaming with Microbes is something that I'm rereading right now, and they actually have an audio version of it. So the audio book, I like listening to that every now and then. I consider that more of an advanced book. There's a lot of good information in there, but it gets very deep into soil science. So be patient. If you are a beginner, intermediate, I mean, geez, you can even be an advanced person and get confused by some of the things, or some of the things may go over your head, but a lot of great information. Big shout out to Jeff Lowenfels. Maybe I can get him on the podcast sometime. That'd be cool.